Joined by Rory McIlroy, always a pleasure. We're talking about the 9 shots, the 3 draws, the 3 straight, the 3 fades, presented to us by Whoop. So let's start with the draw, shall we? The low, the medium, the high. If you were to rank those 3, low, medium, high, for Rory McIlroy, growing up in Northern Ireland, which is the easiest for you to hit?
So the easiest, I think, for most people to hit with a draw is the low draw. You know, I think it's a natural movement where you can you feel like you cover the ball, and you can. I mean, I think as well, like growing up in Northern Ireland in the wind, the best way to get the ball to go through the wind is to hit a low draw. You know, it's not going to have as much spin on it. You're going to get a little more out of it. So I feel like for most people, hitting a draw and hitting it low is the most comfortable.
Oh, a low, stinging, running shot. Look at that.
Let's talk about the mechanics of actually hitting a low draw then. You've got a 6-iron there.
Yeah.
I've got your driver. I may just make you hit the driver because I can.
No problem.
But the low draw for you, let's say we were just into the wind, maybe just a hair.
Which we sort of are a little bit today. So yeah, so I would, I mean, the first thing is setup, right? You're gonna try to set yourself up for success. You're gonna move the ball a little back in your stance. Which automatically is going to help you to attack the ball from the inside, and then you have to aim a little further right. I wouldn't necessarily encourage closing the club face at address, because it's we now know from TrackMan and everything that we curve the ball with the path rather than the face. So that's really I would for a low draw, I'd aim a little up the right side, have the ball back in my stance. Maybe have maybe just sort of bump into my left side a touch, just to try to keep that pressure there. And then from there, you've set up. I've maybe tried to cover it a little bit with my right shoulder, and then just hit a nice little low draw.
Well, let's see you hit one, then I'm going to dig in a bit more by what Rory McIlroy means by covering it with the right shoulder.
Set up, started at this bunker, low draw.
Yeah, that was a beauty. I think it's interesting that as you hit the low draw there, you didn't actually take a gouging divot doing that.
No, not at all. Not at all. You don't have to get steep on it. You can still sweep it and hit it low.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting thing. So you said with the low draw, just summarizing just very briefly, you put the ball back a little bit, probably put the weight left a little bit, maybe look a little bit right of target, a few yards.
Yep.
But then you said you cover it with your right shoulder. So for those that might not know what that means, what would cover it be in Rory McIlroy verbiage?
Cover it would be when I take it back, then when I'm coming back to impact, I'm trying to feel like I'm on top of the golf ball. I think when you look at, like, say, the high draw that we're going to do in a little bit, you're not quite on. You're not covering it. You're more, maybe a little more right side bend and trying to get it up in the air, where this is more, sometimes I feel like my right side is a little higher than it usually is. But it's really just trying to get your chest back over the ball at impact.
Okay, let's see you hit another one here, Roz. So covering it, that gets the club face slightly close to the path. I'd like to go on record.
Take that.
I'd like to go on record as saying my low draw doesn't look like that. I just want to get that straight. I'm going to take the club cover off this guy, and let's talk about hitting the low draw with your driver, if we could, please.
Of course. The low draw with the driver. I mean, it's a similar concept. I mean, I don't. It's very hard with the driver. It's a longer club to put the ball much further back in your stance, like it is with an iron. So, I guess it's just more of a. I always feel with the driver that I get sometimes quite, my spine angle gets away from the target. So I try to keep that spine angle a little more, not as much side bend to the right. I guess that's the way I would describe how I try to hit it low. And then it's the same concept with the iron in terms of just trying to swing a little more out to the right to promote that right to left.
Let's see you hit one with that. Then I have got a question for you. Growing up in the wind of Northern Ireland and playing all over the world as you have done, Yeah, that was a beauty. Look, the low draw, it didn't look like you teed that ball all that low.
No, I don't. I try not to change my tee height because
Really?
I'm used to hitting the driver from a certain height, so I don't try to change that at all.
So you wouldn't tee it up if you're going to try and hit it higher then?
No, I feel like I tee it high enough anyway.
Yeah.
So I usually tee it at a pretty consistent height, and then I just change my mechanics to match the shot I'm trying to hit.